Look, always into the water.
Mm-hmm.
This is because it's rowing with just on the right side. Okay, and look, in this way.
Buongiorno tutti. Welcome back to Venice. I'm actually on the north side of the island right now. There's a stack of vaporeros about to take off. One of them just leaving. Those are the water buses. They're running late. Running everybody back and forth around the island and everything, and between the islands, as a matter of fact. Behind me is Murano Island. You might know that from Murano glass, and that's where they do all that back there. And of course I'm standing on top of a bridge looking out into the lagoon. Watching the boats go by. Yeah, so another great day in Italy, another great day in Venice. I didn't actually plan this, but today's video kind of is in line with yesterday's video. Yesterday I talked about how you can't really trust your preference, versus habit, right? Versus what you're used to, and the only way to really get whether or not you actually like something or prefer something over something else is you have to try them, and try them for a good long while. And anyone who knows me knows that I like to paddle, and it should come as no surprise that when I decided to visit Venice, I was looking for a way to paddle. And initially I was Googling, do they canoe in Venice? I found out that there is a little bit of kayaking here and there. I was told different things about the legality of kayaking, but I was told today actually that you can kayak a lot more and paddle anything really a lot more than I understood anyway. Now, of course, you might not want to in the Grand Canal, knowing, especially in the mornings with all the transport boats whipping through there, because, it might be illegal, but, they're not stopping for you. But anyway, I've been, every time I think of coming to these places, I always want to try to merge my loves, right? Like, I love the history, I love the travel, and I love paddling. And I've got pre-planned a bunch of trips that involve paddling somewhere, right? Especially canoeing and portaging around some historic sites. In fact, some of them are on very ancient rivers and go under castles. And can you just imagine, like coming to old Europe and getting up in the morning, paddling down a lazy river, getting off, and visiting a church, and then maybe picking up some supplies, having a floating lunch of like local meats and veggies and maybe cheese, I guess, if you're into that thing, and then at the end of the day, stopping and having a nice local dinner somewhere at like a bed and breakfast, and doing it all over again until you travel across a country or a section, or just take on a river or whatever. And I think that's great, and I've got a bunch of ideas for that. In fact, if anyone else is interested, let me know, because it's probably a little easier to do that not alone, with someone else. But anyway, I'm digressing. Point is that I tried to, once again, assume my preference onto another activity, right? So in this case, come to Europe and paddle like a Canadian, right? And I thought, that's insane. What do they do here? They paddle. Well, they row, in fact. They call it rowing. We have paddles, they have oars. They're rowing around the canals. And so when I was looking for things to do and trying to figure out activities that you could do in Venice, and I saw that you could learn to paddle gondola, which the boat that we used today wasn't exactly a gondola. So they're not called gondolas. There's actually several types of boats, and I'm not even going to try to remember what we paddled today. Long Italian name, starts with an S. Anyway, I'll just call them gondolas. But you know, I paddled a gondola today, and it was amazing, and I thought that was awesome. And like, why am I doing it? Why am I coming to Venice and trying to be a Canadian? Imposing my preference, right? How do I know this isn't better? How do I know? Like, they've been doing this for 1600 years, so of course there's something to it, right? And the funny thing is that, you know, I arrogantly thought, oh well, I'm a paddler, I'll be able to pick this up, no problem. But it took me a little bit, because I kind of had to unlearn some things, because, you know, first of all, you had this big oar, right? The same principles seem to apply, and I have been watching the gondola or the gondoliers, right, and what they're doing, and the techniques that they're using, the feathering, and you know, they don't switch sides. They have an angled boat. They make a lot of corrections, but they, you know, they forward row to get momentum and propel themselves forwards and everything, and it's amazing to watch. But of course, I want to stick the paddle in the water and push back, right, and pull my my paddle back, right. But that's not. You gotta actually push and push down. But at the same time, you're pushing down. I should stop doing this, so I'm moving the camera around. But you're pushing down at the same time as pushing away. But the forchetta, which holds the paddle in place, it's actually got a big opening at the top. So as I'm trying to pull back, it's popping off all day, right? And so I really had to learn to like push into this, but while the paddle was in the water. So I'd push, you know, and then once I got it, then I started to realize, wow, this is why they do this, right? And you could do it all day, and it's, you know, quite a fun experience. But I mean, the greatest part was being out on the water and out on the canal. And because I came out, you know, off season, we were actually on the Grand Canal. And they were mentioning that generally they wouldn't do that, because, not that they wouldn't do it, but, you know, guests and novices like us, with all the waves and the big boats and everything, you know, it's just very unstable and everything, and people, you know, don't like that. So we managed to get out there on the ground. Today I paddled the Grand Canal in Venice. Okay, like that's the point. What an amazing experience. How, you know, you can't say that unless you know, get on a plane, come here to Italy and just do it, right? When are you going to get the chance to do that? I'm beaming, because what an experience. And again, too, it was paddling in the canal. And I remember years ago I paddled the canals in the Netherlands, in particular in Leiden. I really enjoyed that. We went out of the city and everything, but the day I went paddling in the city was amazing, because it was a Wednesday, right? And people are walking around. It's a work day, and it's noisy. There's bikes, there's cars, there's people moving around, there's noises, you know, from industry and everything. But then you get into the canal and everything's above you, so all the sound just floats away. And what an amazing meditative experience to just experience the city, still be able to see all the buildings and everything, but have that quietness, right? And that's kind of what it was like today as well, right? Because we were right in there. And there's something about being in the heart of it, right? Like, I can see across a canal and see the tunnels and the little staircases that you can only access by boat. But when you're down there and you're level with them, it's quite a cool experience. And got to see a lot, you know, like a lot of the times the water level, like the high water marks were above us. There were like barnacles, like, you know, we could reach out and touch. And just what an amazing, like, I'm so glad I did this. I actually want to see if I can do like a level 2 or something, because that was a lot of fun. And it was only like an hour and a half, no, 2 hours, but just, you know, what an experience. And it was a great remote work experience because you know, it took me like a half hour to walk out there, and we paddled around, got out, I walked back, and then I was ready for work, you know. And it was a gorgeous day, and like, man, there is nothing I can complain about, really. Like, it's amazing how well this is going. But yeah, I didn't paddle a canoe in Venice. I paddled a gondola. And, you know, I took the first step in learning how to kind of paddle and row a Venice boat, but I'll remember this for a long time, I'll tell you that. So, with that, and a nice view of Murano, I will say I hope that everyone else is having wonderful adventures as well. I hope you're doing awesome. I am enjoying a lot in Venice, and please take care of yourself. Please, you know, figure out your own adventures, and or come talk to me about those other paddling trips, because they're interesting. Anyway, good night. I will speak to everyone tomorrow. A domani. Arrivederci. Ciao.
Always the sweetness in the movement.
Sweetness in the movement. I like that.
Exactly. As singing, as dancing.